Good evening. My name is Career Coach Marcy, and today we are talking about the informational interview. One thing I would love to let you know is exactly what an informational interview is. An informational interview is an interview that you utilize to actually learn more about the organization that you want to join. Or it is an interview that you utilize to learn more about the role you would like to actually be in. So here's the best part about the informational interview. It doesn't mean that you actually are looking for a role in that organization. So again, that informational interview is what you utilize to learn more about the company and the role that you would like to go into. So let's think about it. Let's say you wanted to work at Disney. I mean, Disney is a fun place to work. Who wouldn't want to work there, right? But what if there were things about Disney that you just did not know about and wanted more information about? You would speak to a person that works in the organization that can tell you all things Disney, right? So maybe you're interested in the salary. What about the time off? What do they do throughout different seasons in the resort, right? You would actually make friends with someone that works in the company that can help you actually determine if that's a role you're interested in working in. So I'll take nursing, for instance. Nursing is something that you can do at any facility, but you know what the difference is? How the people are treated. How are those people treated? Do they enjoy working for the organization? Do they absolutely hate it? Are there some benefits that they could actually have that would benefit them and make them want to stay? Do they have a work-life balance? So let's get right into the meat and potatoes of what exactly do you ask in an informational interview and how do you get one? So for the most part, most informational interviews come about through LinkedIn. If you don't have a LinkedIn account, please remember to take my survey to learn more about the ups and downs and ins and outs of LinkedIn. This is what's going to help you grow in your career. LinkedIn is the number one place that you want to be seen if you're looking for employment. So let's go ahead and get started. In that informational interview, again, we're using a nurse as an example. You want to reach out to a hospital facility, right? When you reach out to that hospital, what you want to be able to do is ask a person that's working in a role you would like to be in what it's like to work there. What is the culture? How do they evaluate performance? What exactly happens if I want to be promoted? How long does it take to be promoted? How do they measure success at the organization? But even better, why do you love working there? These are all great questions that you can ask people that are working in that nursing facility, but specifically in the role that you want to work in. So I want to take a brief moment and ask you guys to drop in the chat. What types of roles are you looking for so that I can help you determine what questions would be helpful to actually ask when you connect with individuals? And again, we're talking about connecting on LinkedIn, right? If you don't have a LinkedIn account, please make sure that you go through my profile, and it was approximately 2 to 3 weeks ago where I did allow everyone to take a survey to learn if their LinkedIn is actually optimized. I am partnering with someone who is going to help you get your LinkedIn optimized so that recruiters find you, so that even if you're not applying, they're going to reach out to you and that they know your value that you would bring to their organization just because of the way you set up your LinkedIn account. So again, drop any questions you have in the comments, letting me know the position that you would love to apply for so that I can help you determine the questions that you can ask. And again, this is all about the informational interview, right? After we cover some of these, You want to make sure you go ahead and stay tuned because we're going to talk about interview questions. And while we're waiting to talk about the informational interview and the types of questions that you'd like to have me help you with on LinkedIn when you introduce yourself to individuals, don't forget to put in the comments, what types of interview questions do you need help with? Because I'm here just for assistance and to guide you through so that you can be successful in your interviews to secure the career that you want and be able to also negotiate that salary that you deserve. This is super, super important. There are tons of roles that are available, and a lot of them are roles that we don't even know are out there because a lot of roles don't get posted, right? So we want to make sure that we're marketing ourselves in the best way for us to be able to say, hey, guess what? I'm out here, I'm looking, I'm actively looking, and I really do want to secure a role in your organization. So I'm going to go ahead and jump back and talk about that informational interview. Again, in the comments, drop the name of a position that you are interested in filling, like just a job title, and I will be able to help you come up with informational interview questions that can be used universally for most roles. And that number one question that we do have, that I do want to make sure you know, is tell me why or what you love about working at the organization. When you ask this question of someone who's employed at the organization that you absolutely love and want to be employed at, that's going to tell you what makes it great for them. Here's the biggest takeaway though. Sometimes you get an answer that you're not expecting. And what do you do when that happens? So if you contact someone who's a nurse currently or who works in IT, and I've got the perfect example, Miss Cardi 2.0 says housekeeping supervisor. So I would say for housekeeping supervisor that you actually find out what facility they're working at. So let's say they're housekeeping at a hotel. I'm going to use that. If you're a housekeeping supervisor at a hotel, let's say large chain hotel, let's do one even better, right? You're going to be at the Marriott. You're going to actually reach out to the housekeeping supervisor and say, tell me what it's like working for the Marriott. What do you love about working for the Marriott? What do you not love about working for the Marriott? Tell me a little bit about how they are gauging your success. What does it mean to be successful if you're a housekeeping supervisor at the Marriott? Tell me a little bit about how they reward performance. What is it like working for your supervisor? Because even though you're a supervisor, you're going to have a supervisor who's over you as well. So what you want to do is make sure you understand how they effectively manage their employees in the organization, right? So those are the types of questions you would ask for housekeeping supervisor. What about the culture of the organization? I would also ask, what is the number one reason people choose to leave the organization? Sometimes when you do informational interviews, it helps to get to the down and dirty and really talk about some of the pain points that the organization may be having. Because the more you know, the more prepared you are when you go into the interview for the roles that you're looking for. Because there's always a reason why the last person left. If it is not for promotion within, it is for them to promote outside of the organization. Those are the two biggest reasons that you want to hear. If they say, well, that manager was not a good fit, your next question, tell me a little bit more about what made that role challenging. Is your role challenging? Do you have anyone that helps you in the event you need help? Because as a supervisor, your manager generally may not be available to help you through some of those complex situations. Who is your go-to person when you need help? So I now want to go ahead and ask if there's anyone else that has another position that they would like for me to help them with an informational interview question or a set of questions. Just go ahead and drop it right inside the comments, right? So I'm going to go ahead and take a leap of faith and just say security officer. If you're a security officer and you want to work at a different organization as a security officer, you want to know about the locations that you're being dispatched to. Is the environment safe that you work in? Tell me how locations or contracts are chosen, or how are they selecting us in that process? There are so many different questions that you can ask when it comes to security. You also want to be mindful to ask if you're allowed to be armed or not, and if that requires licensure, because we do have laws for carrying, right? You don't want to go into the office and actually carry when that's not permissible. They will tell you, but here's the thing. You want to know that before you even apply. You want to do some research about the organization as well. The best research that you can find out there is through Glassdoor, because that's where you're going to find the truth and the whole truth, where no one can make changes about those reviews, as well as Google. Google does not let any organization edit the information that is posted once someone does put out a review for the organization. So now I want to take an opportunity to talk about interview questions. Interview questions are some of the hardest things that we are, cross with when we go into the interview and we get asked something that we just don't know how to answer. So tell me a little bit about what the hardest question was for you to answer, and I will gladly tell you how you can actually answer those questions. And while you're typing in the comments those questions, I just want to thank everyone for joining. Dr. Wendy Wilson, W2Com, thank you for joining. Kiora, thank you for joining. Loving Me Some Me, thank you for joining. B Bucci, 1331, thank you for joining. Union Lasana Entertainment, thank you for joining. Marriage Beyond the Breach, thank you for joining. Leap Into Grief, thank you so much for joining. Coach Mika, thank you for joining. Stephen Pellegrino 4, thank you for joining. Mindful Empowerment Life Coaching, thank you for joining. Ms. Cardi 2.0, thank you for joining, and thank you so much for giving me the example. In Season _Jeremy, thank you for joining. Indian Raw Human Hair Seller, thank you for joining. Being Mrs. Otley, thank you so much for joining again. Jigaman G5, thank you for joining. Coach Ebony Said, thank you for joining. Favorite 365, I appreciate you for joining me. So, tell me about yourself. It is great to give your current or past work experience. Here's the thing. Think of it as an elevator pitch, right? So when they say tell me about yourself, let me just explain what they're looking for. In 1 to 2 minutes or less, they would love for you to summarize your career. This is almost impossible. But the one thing you want to make sure you don't do is give personal information, such as hobbies, or even children. If the hobbies are not associated with your work experience and the role they're looking for you to fill, do not give it, right? So you don't want to say this. Here's what you're not going to say. Hi, my name is Marcy, and I've been in HR for 10 years, and, I like to cruise in my spare time, and I like to take my kids on Disney cruises. And, from time to time, I like to actually, read books. I'm into Dungeons and Dragons. And again, that goes into a lot of personal. Whereas you could very well say, hi, my name is Marcy. I've been an HR and recruiting professional for 32 years. What I love most about human resources is the human aspect. I love and care about all things employees, and especially working for the organization, as well as being an advocate for the employee. Remember, employee relations and employee engagement is what keeps our employees happy. And that's what I believe human resources represents. Now, I just made that up off the top of my head, but just in an interview, it would really be impressive to hear something like that if that person is looking for someone in human resources and recruiting. But that tell me about yourself, you should practice that so much that no matter when you say it, you already know what to say. It doesn't sound rehearsed. It just kind of flows, right? So you want to be able to say, let's just say you're in hospitality and you work at a hotel. You want to be able to easily say exactly who you are, what you do, and how you're going to be able to benefit the organization. So hi, my name is Marcy. I've been a hotel manager for 6 years where I've specialized in training, employee engagement, and workforce planning. My goal in contributing to your organization will include employee retention, as I did notice that there have been some recent concerns with employee retention. I love employee engagement, diversity, equity, and inclusion, as well as ensuring we have off-site events to keep our employees active and engaged. And I would really love to work for your organization. When you give it to them that way, it shows you've done some research about the organization as well. I hope that helps for you, Favored 365. And if there's anyone else that has another question about what types of questions that they've been asked in the past that have been troublesome, drop them in the comments now, because I'm here for you. And honestly, it only makes sense to help out. Resume Workshop, there you are. So Resume Workshop is a friend of mine who specializes in all things resume. And listen, when I tell you, although we both specialize in doing that, Resume Workshop is here for you, okay? Resume Workshop, if you are on and available to join, definitely go ahead and get up in here. Let's go ahead and talk to the people, because I want them to know who you are, what you do, and what other things you feature, as well as what are you handing out for Black Friday? Because, honey, I got some stuff too. But if you're willing to join, come on with me, because there is enough love out here for everyone when it comes to resumes, career coaching, informational interviews, how to ace the interview, and how you're going to beat the applicant tracking system. Because let me just tell you something. Everything seems to be trickery nowadays. You start to wonder, why did I upload my resume and they had the nerve to ask me to fill out a whole application? This is what organizations do because applications are legally binding. So sometimes we just kind of sit and say, man, this just doesn't make sense. I just did all of this to get the resume up here. Now they want me to go ahead and regurgitate what's on the resume. For legal purposes, it's something that's required. But guess what? In order for your resume to be chosen, you need to go ahead and make sure you beat that applicant tracking system. So Resume Workshop is at an event right now. Thank you so much for letting me know. I appreciate you for all the love and the hearts. And we're going to do this again, okay? Because I'm here every Thursday. So we have to get on here for the people because we are here for the people. So I've got another question. When applying for a position, is it best to add part of the job description in the resume? Ability to. So here's the thing. You want to add keywords from the job description, but you don't want to say ability to. You know why? Because you already know how to do it, okay? We're going to go ahead and claim that. We're not using words like ability to. What you know how to do is exactly what they're looking for, okay? So let's be very confident in how we word things on our resume. What you want to be able to do is identify the accomplishments that you've had in the roles that you've performed in, right? So you don't want to say a blanket statement like ability to navigate Microsoft Office. Newsflash, everybody knows how to operate Microsoft Office because they wouldn't have a resume if they couldn't. There's no other way to create one, right? So we don't want to use Microsoft Office as one of those types of skill sets, right? We want to make sure that we go ahead and state everything that we have accomplished in our role. So again, it's not responsibilities, it's accomplishments. What have you done to help with maybe workforce planning? What have you done to actually have helped with employee engagement? What have you done if you were the housekeeping supervisor to retain employees, right? What types of career impacts have you made that are making the difference now for your people in the role? So Again, I want to thank Career Coach Kim for joining. Hey. And HR Coach Kidder. I'm sorry, Coach C. Kidder. Thank you so much for joining. And what I'm talking about right now is the interview question piece. We finished the informational interview part. And I'd love if either of you would love to join and give some feedback to the people, because we are here for them, right? So we have people that are on the line that are asking questions. When applying for a position, is it best to add part of the job description in the resume? And for me, part of the job description is important if you actually have the skill set. Because again, I would say list those accomplishments that you've had based on what they're looking for. Also, do the research on the company to find where their pain points are. And in that informational interview, you can also find that out before you actually get the interview. So every time I'm looking for employment, I love to find out who works there to get the inside scoop. Because knowing what's going on the inside helps you determine from the outside if you want to join the party. Does anyone have any additional questions or anything else that you would love for me to cover tonight? Piece of candy, thank you so much for joining. Anything that you would like to have covered, I'm open for discussion. If there's anyone out there that would love to join, I am here for you, because I am wanting to make sure I make an impact so none of us ever have to experience unemployment, undervalued, and being underpaid. Also, just not being appreciated in any way, shape, or form in your role. Not everyone loves who they work for or the careers that they're in. And what I think you should do in that case is really think about taking a career assessment to determine where you would really like to work. Basically, that is the best thing for you to do. Again, my name is Career Coach Marcy, and I thank you so much for joining, because I am here to serve you. And I did want to mention, I am offering 50% off of all services for Black Friday. Okay? All services. If you are interested in a resume review, please go ahead and DM me. If you are interested in attending a webinar specifically to suit your needs, please go ahead and DM me and let me know the topic that you would like to have covered. Because for Black Friday, I am releasing 6 different webinars to help you on your career journey. And that is starting from the very top, where we're talking about cover letters, resumes, interviews, salary negotiation, which is a very big one. And then we also have your LinkedIn, how you're going to apply on different websites, how are you going to orchestrate and create a resume and cover letter for every single role that is out there that is being posted. And then the biggest piece, and now this is the hottest piece I didn't really want to tell you about. I'm also going to be releasing all of the new roles that have not been posted between healthcare, IT, even warehouse roles and customer service roles, all remote. Everything I'm talking about is remote, okay? So if you are interested in finding out about those roles, please DM me, because I have tons of roles that are not filled right now. And we need to be the ones out there filling these roles. These are global positions. These are all held on American time zones in the U.S. So you do not have to worry. Even if the position is in a different country, you will still work on U.S. hours. And the key to it is my connection with other HR managers, directors, recruiters, and global recruiters that are giving me the insight to be able to give to my audience. So, again, I want to thank you so much for joining. I appreciate you guys, and I will see you next week. Stay tuned.